Nice job. Photograph.
Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order. I would ask that anybody that comes up to speak on an application that they announce who they are, who they represent, and if you have a tough last name, please spell it. And we will start off with continuations, go to new matters after that, and if we have any need for the informal, we will go to that last. So I'll call, the first item would be ARB 16-12, Donardo Capital, 30 South Broadway. Don't expect anything to come up here, so we'll go on to the next one. ARB 16-60, 116-118 Main Street, Fisher. Okay, moving on, 16-65, 1 North Broadway, LMLIRV Realty. And then we have the last continuation, 16-84, 44 South Ferris Street, Barnard. Okay, on to new matters. That would answer your question, by the way. We're not going to hear Bernardo tonight. No.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right.
So we can go.
On to new matters.
Okay.
ARB 16-91, 48 to 50 Main Street.
What do you want to do?
Staversky is the name?
Stop it.
Yes, it is.
This-
You don't know how anticipated you're opening this, by the way.
Very excited.
Hi,
I'm actually a little worried because I live on that block. I just don't want to be there too often.
hi, Matthew Behrens, B-E-H-R-E-N-S. I'm the architect for the application. It's an application for new signage to be installed at this location for a new takeout and dine-in restaurant. The proposal is basically 3 window signs that are going to be vinyl letters, direct applied to the glass, and then also for a 2-sided lateral sign. There is artwork that may or may not be in the application.
Actually, it said it was, but it wasn't.
I've got it.
Oh, actually.
There's also some of the artwork for the signs. That's the window sign.
That's the color.
Yep. Except that instead of the black letters, we're going to do white letters because the black letters won't read well. And obviously we'll read the page.
Okay, so just to be clear, for what's in the window, it'll be white revenge, white barbecue, but the knives will still be red.
Correct.
Do you want to make a note?
I do.
And then on the lateral sign, the idea is that this is going to look like a cutting board with the graphics kind of branded onto it. So it won't be as crisp lines as you're seeing here. It'll almost look like they're sort of softer edges.
Is it opaque or translucent? I'm just trying to...
No, it's wood. It's solid wood
Oh, it is solid wood. Oh,
in
okay.
a black frame with black brackets.
These are meant to indicate grain.
Correct.
Great.
Great, and we're just gonna make a note on.
You're just going to have to sign this, that the lettering is going to be white and that
Board.
the board is actually solid wood.
Okay.
It looks great.
Excellent.
Initial right next to those, I'll put it with the application and make sure that
Do you have the business address over the door or anything else on the door?
No.
And what is there now? Is there an awning or anything? I can't
The
remember.
awning's been removed.
It has already, right, yeah.
Don't need it.
All the existing sign is being removed. All the signage is being removed.
Okay.
Any questions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve as amended?
So moved.
Second? Seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Best of luck. When do you anticipate opening?
Fantastic. He wants to keep us all on edge. That's what it is.
We're hoping by January. We're starting to feel really good. There's a lot of, particularly for the neighbors, we do a lot of event upgrades, input upgrades to make sure we're capturing all that. So now it's so now we can.
I'm doing it.
Great. Do you want to take that
Thank
and
you.
take
Good luck with it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is ARB 16-92, 51 Jaffrey Court, Rosner.
Hi.
It's listed as landscaping.
Yes.
Actually, a little bit of decking involved as well. the pavement. Right. My name is Grzegorzewski, Grzegorzewski. And I represent David Rasner for landscaping, bench, and bluestone pavements.
Okay. You want to just show us on your drawings what you're
Yeah, so,
proposing?
well, actually, bring the survey. This is the survey of the property. The backyard is really small, and that's David Rasner purchased the property. There was retaining wall made it out of the railroad ties. So he changed that, he's trying to change that to bench, which would act as a retaining wall, cladded with mahogany. And
So the wall itself is remaining, you're just gonna clad it and?
no, we changed the wall because wall was so old, and the wall actually didn't allow the drainage to go under. The new bench is on the pilasters, so the water can flow under, you know, that's added to for the drainage. Benefit of the drainage, there was the water sitting, and that's why the retaining wall was deteriorating. And the height of the wall remains the same, the location of the wall remains the same, it's just material changes from railroad ties.
So the wall itself was on a previous application as far as being approved, or we legalized?
It was existing as he
Okay.
as he purchased the property.
When they did the renovation.
Okay.
That's good.
And this is the pavements, which are going to be underneath the table, bluestone pavements of 5 feet width and 14 inches wide, with the gravel between.
So right now, I just have a question. You're showing the pieces of mahogany going below grade, below the level of the terrace?
No, down to the terrace.
There's a section on page 6. It's right there, right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
This here?
right. It shows the wood going below the level of the terrace.
right.
So
This here.
My concern, not
Yeah.
because I don't think we can disprove it, is that you're good that the mahogany is going to rot.
David is aware of it. He just doesn't like to see any green wood. He's aware that the mahogany, he may have to change the lower part of wood, you know, every 10 years or something.
Yeah, a few years.
Yeah. Mahogany is a water-resistant material.
Oh, I know what it is, but it's just saying it's going to have a finish on. It's finished, right?
Well, yeah, above grade will be finished. Below the grade will be finished also, but below the grade we are going to finish actually with a different finish, so it stands the water a little longer.
Okay. Just seems a funny detail the way this is put together.
There's the arrangement of the pavement,
Okay.
the blue stones. And landscaping is all trees to remain. He's planting some extra bushes against the fence which is existing to just soften the look of the fence.
Have you been in front of the planning?
Yes, we have approval.
Okay. So I know that when you go through planning, the village's landscape architect has looked at it and then has approved it.
That's correct. And in here,
That's why we're adding, for the drainage, we're adding additional drywall.
That would also be a planning board issue, but I appreciate you pointing it out. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, sorry. It says lawn here, where the bluestone, it's in the plan, it says lawn, but in the section, it's gravel. Here it says lawn,
Right?
and then when I look at the section where's the section of the bench? Here it's
Oh,
showing
because-
sandstone dust
You
base.
can put that.
What's the section taken?
It was taken here, but if you cut it through here, you see this part of the bluestone.
So, just kind of, it's not indicated, no, here's the bluestone, and then it says native decorative stone topping, color to be determined.
Yeah, that was, the board asked us to remove that and put the grass.
Okay, so what you need to do then is indicate in that, on the drawing and sign it, that this is lawn and not the stone.
Yeah, we do have that on the drawings.
Now, I see where it says there, but
Right.
it doesn't, the section,
Let's see what it
Okay,
says.
so I will sign.
do you know why they asked that?
They just wanted to have a more green. He didn't mind. He didn't mind because actually he was thinking that the grass is, it's okay then.
You just need to make a notation on this official drawing, on the detail that he's referring to.
Here, it goes in the mark.
Detail, what number of detail?
Number 2, on page
L.
But on the drawing,
At the actual location. I'll make a notation there to tell the building department to look
I
at
will
it.
sign.
L6?
so just strike that out.
Here?
Yep. And then, I think you said it's lawn, but it's, you're gonna do what? Just have to regrade it, or,
It's flat. The grading stage.
but I mean, you're gonna have new soil put in
Yeah, inside.
and indicate that.
Dated
Yes, just sign it, David.
November.
I'll add this to the other drawing. Any other questions from the board? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sir, would you like another copy?
Oh, yeah. Always good. Thank you. And this one also?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, moving along, we have ARB 16-93, 17 Meadow Way. The name of Alkali?
Yes, that's me also. This application is for moving the fence to the property line. The fence is existing, the property was enlarged, and so for the property needs to move. The fence needs to in line with the property line.
So it's just moving the existing fence.
That's correct.
Just for clarification, when you say that the property was enlarged,
The owner, actually David Rasner, purchased, before he sold the house, he purchased the property and he never bothered to move the fence to the property. But he obtained the ARB approval in 2008 for that fence.
I didn't have any questions, anybody? Any questions from the board? No?
Nope.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Oh, I have one question, sorry. Are you removing the existing fence? This is the piece of property that was.
We're moving,
I can show it.
This, yeah, this fence here,
Yeah,
that fence actually exists.
yeah.
That fence here moves to that, and we're adding the same kind of fence to. I mean, we first actually putting temporary fence because we're afraid of the deer, so we're putting temporary fence here, we're putting new fence, and then we're moving this one here. There's a lot of difference.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. ARB 16-94, 4 Circle Drive, Orton. Exterior elevation change.
Good evening. My name is Bill Witt. I'm the architect for the project at 4 Circle Drive. Some photos to the board of the existing house and the neighboring houses. This photo of the house is some of the photos were taken. This house exists as a smaller Cape Cod. We propose to expand the second floor, basically take the roof off, turn it into a real second floor, as well as add a 2-car garage on the side of the house. It is a corner lot, so we're trying to treat this almost like it's got 2 fronts in a sense. There's a mudroom door on the garage side. The main door staying where it is. All the materials on the outside of the house. There's a new deck on every of it.
There is already a new deck? Or
We're
there will
proposing a
be
new deck,
outside?
yeah. Exposure, light gray sewer shingle, shingle shake on the house. The trim will be white, roof will be an asphalt shingle. I have some samples of what we'd like to see. The stone here will be a field stone. Give you some ideas of the stone patterns that we're proposing.
Do you have a sample of the siding?
Siding with the exterior.
Those are the colors represented as well?
That's, they're all listed on chart of the elevations.
Okay, survey says it was prepared for Wendy Talarico. She's the corner owner.
Yes. There are 2 visible exterior lights on the house, carriage lights on either side of the garage door. So I'll just, my friends have got it.
Yes, I was about to, the brushes.
Oops.
That's the color of it, it's a pewter looking.
Yes.
Yeah.
See that? Oh, that's it.
Nice.
So this is a demolition?
No. Not a full demolition. We're taking the roof off the house and, as I said, expanding the second floor. So whereas there's currently a cape, we're rebuilding up to a true second floor.
I'm sorry, but I thought there was a sort of guideline that said if it's more than 50% of the existing house, it's considered a demolition. Or it's,
That might be a building department.
And obviously it wasn't because it would be here, it was.
it just, it looks like it's more than 50% of a new, I mean, it's by square footage it is. That was sort of my question. Okay, can you just walk us around the facades and what the materials are?
Sure.
Sorry.
We're doing a shake siding. Carbon slate is the color. And architectural shingle.
Shake in the vinyl.
This is a vinyl.
Why was vinyl chosen?
we wanted to find a clapboard. We wanted to have that. We went through several supply houses, and after the contractor budgeted out a Hardy Shake, it just wasn't in the cards for her. She wanted a zero maintenance house. She needed to get the cost down to where it could be affordable for her and her husband, and she settled.
Put that on the chair so we could all see it.
Yeah.
It's a very high quality, vinyl sided, no seams will be visible.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a shake, that's the problem. It's not, it's just uniform color.
Use this on
What
several
about the
homes, and it's
narrow,
quite successful.
if you're gonna do that in the vinyl, the narrow clapboard, I mean, can look very authentic.
Oh, I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
This is just what she selected after looking at all the samples. And as I said, I have used this on several homes before
Yeah.
quite successfully.
Okay.
And then why don't you walk us through all the materials and the trim and...
Okay. Asphalt shingle. The
It's
colors are
represented
listed,
here.
right? Exactly. The trim will be a combination of vinyl stock pieces that come from the manufacturer. In places where they do not make adequate sizes, I'll be using AZAC for a water table, AZAC for a freeze board. We will have some FIPON, heavy 9-inch crowns above the windows on the lower level. So it's kind of a mixture, but the color scheme is white, gray field, gray roof. There is a
Wait, the trim is white and the house is white? It's this color, right?
Yeah, this is carbon slate, white trim,
Okay.
white windows, black flat panel shutters,
And what are the windows? What brand,
Anderson,
which series?
400 series.
Okay, so it's a real month.
It'll be a simulated 5-light.
Keep going. And stone?
I delivered pictures. It is a fieldstone veneer.
This is a cultivated stone?
It is not.
It's a real stone.
It's a natural stone.
And you really couldn't convince the owner to do clapboard.
I like this, I think it's just these shakes, you know. It's just where you're putting it, you know, in Irvington, it would be nice to
And
see
the
it covered.
downspouts?
Yes, there are white leaders and white gutters. Case not corral.
Okay, and and the copper, is it real copper or is it painted?
It's a real copper, which will obviously tone down as it ages.
And the garage doors, are they this kind or they?
They are Clopay Coachman, which is a conventional overhead door, but it's fitted with the hardware to it.
Okay, so it doesn't have the lines indicated on it. What's the pattern on the door itself?
I don't know if I'm following you.
Well, right now it's showing as if it's a solid white, but it's probably got a pattern on it,
No, it's a solid white wood grain door.
with divided with divisions where the,
Just as it is here, and it's specified on the drawings this way. So it's 3 light, solid panel, white composite.
oh, so it's just flipping up? You said it was an overhead door.
It is an overhead door.
Oh, you're not showing those, or maybe I can't see them from here.
He said, just asking, does it flip up as one piece, or does
Oh,
it?
no, it's a 4-panel
That's
conventional
what,
overhead door.
that's what you're driving at, isn't it?
Yeah, okay. Can you show the other sides too, please?
So these are the 2 elevations that would be visible on Circle. The rear of the house. Oh, I'm sorry, the rear here, and the remaining side. Might be.
North side.
No, let's go. Right side, rear elevation. So here's the garage, side of the garage. Back of the house, this is master bedroom, family room, and then small deck.
What's under the deck? I mean, is there access under there?
Yes, there's existing windows and access from the
That's
existing.
because they're not shown in the drawing, I'm just.
Doors here. Oh, on this side, nothing
Yeah.
over there.
Oh, so there's no windows or anything? Is there any reason you didn't cover it up, or?
We're gonna use it for storage, and, I propose that we can put nice panels over there. The problem is once this is so tight, it's hard to keep lattice that doesn't blow in the window. So it was ready to get it, but they wanna be literally putting the
I
kids'
think
toys
we
in.
recommend strongly that it be covered up, because it's visible to the neighbors. This is on this side or this side?
Actually, the other side.
This side?
Yeah, just sketching. This is our garage.
Mhm.
Family room. That's where the deck will be.
Okay. There's a lot of these houses where they don't cover up the deck and it turns into a junkyard underneath. so I would strongly suggest that. And then, what's the foundation covered with? Cement marking?
Yeah.
And considering that you're using the stone elsewhere, just like this house,
We're using the stone subtly on the front and the sides.
not so subtly, it's a feature wall.
Yeah, but it's not, of course, new stone veneer on the entire foundation.
Well, I'm not gonna argue about where it goes, but this house has a lot of visibility on the corner, and it will have more visibility.
Well, this is the visible part of the house, and as you can see, I have it presented with stone along the foundation, stone vertical elements, and stone along the side as well.
What's to the right? The base of the addition, top, front elevation, go to the right, there.
This is existing. We're just putting on top of it. You can see this in the existing photographs of the house.
And what's the, again, I'm gonna strongly suggest that that foundation be covered. How far back is that? That's the side of the garage. No, that's not the side of the garage.
Let me show you the site plan.
Yep.
Well, the main house is, I'd say that's probably about 60 feet from the street.
Mm-hmm. Again, it just looks like everything is a veneer on the house. Do you have a roof plan?
I do not have a roof plan.
I do have a landscape plan, this is approved by the plan. This shows an additional landscape plan, I think which wouldn't have been represented in the
Here is the right front walkway.
I'm just having a hard time reading it because you don't have a roof plan. I can't follow the roof lines. No, I got that. I understand that. But if you can go back to the elevation, it's hard to follow the.
Which part are you having trouble with?
Okay, so the garage roof is proud of the main roof?
Correct.
Can you show that on there?
Absolutely.
Okay, keep going.
Couple of false gables in the front.
This is what I can't figure out.
That's the rear back.
No, go back. No. Just go okay, so this is what you're calling the left side.
Correct.
Here's this ridge. What ridge?
Do the full set of architectural drawings in front?
Yeah, but what ridge is, wait, which, that's not what I'm interested in. I'm just trying to figure out how the roof's working. So this ridge that I see to the left of the main gable, to the left there, follow your pen to the left, is this gable here.
Correct.
So this is coming all the way to the roof. I know you're sketching it.
Yes.
So this is coming all the way here, and there's a, how is this meeting this? That's what I can't figure out.
If you look at the back of the garage, the ridge line of the garage, running into the roof.
Go back, go, wait, you had it. I think I understood for a second.
Well, this is the right side, so I
Yeah.
apologize. That's the side coming in. So it actually travels further. So this is the freestanding garage in the front.
Now I'm really confused. This is higher than, this is like that.
Yes. And you see the sweep in the rear elevation that I showed you? That
I
sweep
didn't follow that, I was trying to follow that.
comes down here.
Where's that sweep? That's this sweep.
That's this secondary gable
Mm-hmm.
coming down, and this sweep continues to pick this up.
So it goes right from the ridge here?
And what's missing here is the roof over the covered porch at the front. So that acts
Okay.
as a break.
I'm sorry, but it's really hard to sort of see that. It's very important just that we see the whole roof.
You had 4 elevations. in front
No,
of you,
we need a roof plan, because it's a very complex form. And when I was looking at it at home, I was sort of trying to figure it out, and I was hoping maybe there'd be another drawing in here that we missed. So I can't approve it without seeing the sort of roof plan. I couldn't do it, but I'm not the only one else here.
Does everyone on the board have any issues with understanding?
In that, but it's very difficult to understand. It's so much more complex than what's there now, obviously.
Okay. So I'd be more than happy.
And I'm the professional here.
Are you?
Yes.
Okay, I'd be more happy that after this review to sit down and do a roof plan for you.
I don't want to do that. I would like to have a plan and a set of drawings so we all can look at it and understand it. Or you can do it on top of your site plans. You can do a sketch. A sketch is fine.
No, so you don't mind if I do that at the end of the meeting?
No, I need to do it. We're going to go through it, we're going to review it, and then we're going to approve it or not approve it. What I would suggest is, I'm not going to approve it
I understand.
at this time.
The other thing that I was trying to determine based on what you submitted is how many square feet this house, how much larger it is. And I know that you've given us pictorial calculations, but can you just walk us through that as well? Because I see that you, for purposes of FAR, don't add the basement or the garage, but I'm curious, just a bigger picture of what we're doing.
On the site plan sheet, I basically give you an existing and proposed comparison. So an existing basement of 1,140 square foot, we're proposing a basement of 1,561 square foot. First floor, 1,140 square foot again, we're proposing 1,560. That's about a 420 square foot increase on the first floor. The second floor of this house, it presently, like, as I said, it constitutes a smaller second floor. It's only 525 square foot. We're going to be at 1,561, so it's almost doubling, more than doubling the size of the second floor. In addition to that, the house does not currently have a garage, so there's an additional 500 some odd square foot for the two-car garage.
So we're increasing by 16 plus 421 plus 515.
Yes. Yeah, it's a true doubling of the size of this house. At the end of the day, we're going to have 3,200 square feet, not including the basement.
Yes. And we, how, just out of curiosity, and your acres, how much land do we have?
We are we're at 16,126 square feet for this house.
Third.
Yeah. 120 zone?
Does the planning board have any concerns?
No, because I did a comparison, if the board is interested, I'll show you, just of some of the existing houses in the neighborhood. So this gives the board, gives the planning board an idea of how our proposed house was sitting in relation to others. We have all the existing houses on the street, and I've given the floor area ratio and the lot coverage comparison for all the houses. In our case, at 4 Circle Drive, we are proposing an FAR of 20.3, and it gives you some sense on some of these houses are 20.9, 29.4, 22.4 in relation. There's some very large home square footage wise opposite the street that I believe were done in the late 80s, I'm going to guess. They're kind of modern contemporary houses on smaller lots. This house I recently was involved in the remodel of. This one has not yet been modified. Neither has this one. This one has gone through a bit of an expansion over 30 years.
But the larger homes are on the east side of the street?
Yeah, this is a sizable home. 44 Circle, they have a 19.7 FAR. In comparison, ours is, what was I? 20.3. So it's comparable. Size of the lot.
You mean 0.19?
19.7%.
Oh, 19%.
Yeah, 0.19. Same thing. You're right. I get confused as well when I point those things out. So as far as lot sizes, they're similar size lots. They range from 13,000 all the way up to, 11,000 is the smallest, and that's the largest of the house, all the way up to 23,000 square foot lot, which is number 2. It's right here.
I appreciate it, because, I mean, there's been a lot of activity on Circle Drive, and I'm just trying to picture the visual impact, the mass, scale, because the materials obviously are very important.
This gives you an idea of the elevation scale. So here is our house with the existing house next door. Obviously, Circle Drive is the road. The hill slopes up quite a bit, and this gives you an idea of the houses opposite. So these are the two houses across the street, the larger, more contemporary homes in 85. The smaller, modern remodel across the street. This is the house directly opposite. or next to it. And this actually gives you a sense of the scale between the homes as well.
You know, I'm just gonna come back to this. Did you do the remodel in the lower right-hand corner? That's you, right?
This one?
Yeah, so,
This is our proposed
yeah,
house.
yeah. So, again, I go to the shake, and I would, just hear me out for a second. There's something nice about that. You showed us the stone where there's the stone. It sort of breaks up the mass of the house by having the banding of the material, right? The stone, and then the clapboard, and then they have a roof. This is, I mean, if I look at all the neighbors, this is gonna be the biggest one other than the one above it.
Yes, these two are
Yeah,
substantially larger.
are substantially
And
larger.
this one's a bit wider.
And I appreciate that you're using the language of the village or similar language, you know, peaked hip roofs and false dormers and like to sort of break up that roof, but that roof really is high. Is there anything you can do to sort of bring that ridge down so that there's a main ridge? Because it's got a main ridge character. Okay, I look at the side elevation,
Yes.
right, with the garage, and I see this very clear, you know, roof line, and then I look at the other roof that's coming into it on the back, and it's quite large.
Which one on the back?
This is why I needed the roof plan, because I just couldn't follow the way that the roofs were going up and down. Nope, go down to that lower plan.
This side elevation.
Okay, up.
This
to the
one
left.
is substantially in the back.
No, that one I know. It's the one, the upper left. Nope. Down.
These are our houses.
I know, just on the plan, the roof that is to the left of the peak running.
This roof?
Yeah, that roof.
Okay.
It just seems out of scale with that. It's just even bigger. Where is that roof? Or why is that roof that big? No, go.
I'm sure for the elevation, that doesn't seem to answer
No,
the question.
go back, I see why it is. I see why it is.
Now you see the,
That's what it is, the master bedroom suite.
that's the master bedroom.
If you can go back to the elevation. So, having been in a house over
This
the
roof
holidays,
is the master bedroom.
that's the one I'm not worried about. It's the next roof next to it.
This roof here
It's the slope roof.
is the slope roof that comes down and meets this. And I'll show you on the plan.
Okay.
Here is our main roof.
Yep.
The master bedroom roof that ties into a shared ridge that slopes down to here.
Sorry, so I see what it is. So you're trying to capture that bathroom, well, whatever that is.
Yeah,
Looks like the laundry
for
room.
the bedroom. That's underneath.
Is there any, okay, so let's go back to that. The side elevation, the one that you're looking, the rear, I don't even know what side it is.
Well, it's the left side.
No, the one that looks back at that, where you see the swoop. So, is there any okay, so that little window there is the laundry room, right?
Yes. Now, as a design professional myself, obviously, these things don't happen in a vacuum, right? It's not like this is it. We study several different roof schemes. Is it
Just go
possible?
back, please, just go back to the page, just for a second, I was looking at it.
I don't know what
I do, so, I'm just trying to figure out, that swoop is picking up a lot of area to pick up a laundry room. Is there any chance that that roof there, that's coming off the laundry, could just be a hip roof sliding back into the back of the house?
you want to, well,
See what I'm saying? So I'm looking at this and I'm saying,
this could be a shed roof. Could not be a head roof, but it could be a shed roof. But that would be less successful architecturally.
Again, so this is the line of the master bedroom, right?
Correct.
That's the line of the master bedroom, it ties into this dormer here. This roof is picking up over, again, hierarchically, you've told us that this is the main shape of the house, right?
Correct.
That's the main idea. And here you have the false dormer.
Correct.
Is it letting light into anything?
It's open to an unfinished attic.
Unfinished attic.
Yep.
So, I'm just like looking at this and thinking, okay, in keeping with that hierarchy, this should always be the highest point. But instead, you're running a ridge into here. Is there any chance that you could run the ridge into here? right, stopped it here, or carried this up, how far ahead of it is this? See, what's troubling me is this ridge is just coming up and that one disappears behind it. You're saying this is all the way back, no one's gonna see it.
No, I'm saying, not that no one's gonna see it, I'm saying it is in the background.
But
I think
did
it's
you look at it as a
attractive.
shed?
Yes, we did. We looked at a shed off of this roof. It wouldn't work here because of the landscape up there. And you could see how awful that pitch would be.
I mean, I would have set a shed like that
Yes.
into that roof.
I think that would have been a little bit more of a perfect connection, because we did study that. We also studied the concept of shedding this. It just didn't work visually.
But if you're shedding this, right, if this comes across, again, following the peak line, you're just gonna have a shed that's coming off here and running into that.
Yeah.
It's not, all it's doing is dropping this down until it hits that peak.
Right.
I'm not sure how that's awkward.
Or even less successful.
But this is the back end, this is the back elevation.
I want every elevation to be beautiful.
Well, then I wouldn't put up this vinyl on it, but that, I'm not gonna argue. I would argue, again, my argument,
Does Irvington no longer allow vinyl? I mean, I'm okay with that if that's the case. I just need to let my clients know. This is a beautiful.
I'm okay with
high-quality
the
product.
vinyl, it's the shakes. I feel like
the
they belong
shakes.
in a different neighborhood. You know, I think that the whole neighborhood, if you look at the neighborhood as a whole, which is somewhat humble in many places, and you're gonna have the grandest house in that little, and that's okay, because I'm sure, you know, the rest will follow, but it's the shakes that feel like they should be maybe in another town. I'm so, you know, I just feel so strongly about it.
I use the shakes exactly on the house right
I
across
think
the
they're
street.
beautiful shakes. I just think they feel a little out of
I
character.
mean, I'm sure that I could convince my client to do a vinyl clapboard. I just don't think that it would be as attractive as this.
I think the narrow vinyl clapboard
My issue
would be a
with
nice
narrow-
juxtaposition to the large stone. I don't
guess my
know.
concern is the scale of the wall. When you start breaking that into a 444, even a 555, you miss some of the scale that you get with a 7-inch shake. And-
Well, I would argue that you want to break up. I mean, just again, compared to the neighbors, you do want to
We've got
break
a lot
up.
Hmm?
going on.
Let's talk about the roof issue.
Yeah,
Do we need to see that before?
I do.
Or is that something?
I'm just not convinced I can approve it as it is.
Is there something that he can do now?
I would love the opportunity to try and show him the roof plan and to avoid my client waiting another month for approval if at all possible.
We meet again on the 12th, but.
We meet in 2 weeks. That's what we meet. I'd like you to seriously consider that roof line. Again, I go to that-
I would be absolutely lying to you if I didn't say as an architect, I consider all options for designing this house.
I'm sure you did, but again, this is a massive house, and it's made more massive by a shed roof that's covering up a laundry room. It's not a grand room, and it's an attic space that looks pretty big to me, probably well developed. Unfinished space will be finished in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, that's not, and you won't be that one.
It's a pull-down attic stair, the collar ties are after midspans. These houses, you can't support any support making a habitable space.
Again, the roof is too substantial on the back side of the house, and I'm not sure why. I still am not sure why it couldn't have been done lower. And follow the straight line through. I do, well, I will defer to my colleagues.
I'm sorry.
Do we have any?
I don't think 3,000 square feet is massive.
Again, just for comparison's sake, in the neighboring homes.
All right, what are the issues on the table at this moment for you?
The scale of the house and the material.
Material of
Shake.
Siding.
Sheet, vinyl, siding.
Are these issues that you feel with 2 weeks' time is going to change? 2 issues that you brought up?
I mean, like I had mentioned earlier, if I could convince my client to do a, in my opinion, lesser product, which is the clapboard, it would go against my better judgment as the design professional here. But if I can convince them, I suppose. I just, I mean, you're asking me to do something that I feel fairly strongly against.
I thought at first you said, when you first came in, I thought you said you did try to convince them to do the clapboard. But
No,
they
that's what they
weren't willing.
wanted. I convinced them to do the hybrid. They actually wanted to use the smaller pieces.
The smaller clapboard.
Yeah. Now, they do make a vinyl clapboard, which is a bigger shake, but I think that's less convincing. As I said, I have used this product on several new homes, and it's quite successful, quite successful. I mean, you can tell that, you know, there's effort put into this house. This is not, you know, just slap it up, throw some windows there.
I don't think it's a bad material.
No.
I just
This house has
wonder
been
about the
complimented
character of the
constantly.
material in the place it's in, that's all.
And I definitely appreciate it. I wish every house could be cedar shingle and Maybach siding and slate roofs. It would be perfect for both at least. This house has obviously been reviewed by the planning board, reviewed by the zoning board.
And that's not our issue.
Well, I think what would be appropriate is to take another look at the roof lines. I mean, it's been clearly articulated that it's not, as it's being shown, fully understood. Are you amenable to going back and providing that and in 2 weeks' time, having us take a look at that?
If there's something that would benefit the board, I mean, if it's a roof plan, I can do that right now. But if you're asking me to redesign something that I've already explored the design of, I just don't know how going back is going to, am I to come back here and say, this is what you want, this is what we should have? Or am I to come back and say, oh, I talked to my client, Bill, I hired you as the architect, based on your experience, based on your past and other homes you've done, and you've done the house that I want on this property. And again, it didn't happen in a vacuum. You know, we started this design process a year ago. You know, the approval process is taking longer than the design process. And I think that's a good thing for villages like Irvington to maintain the character. But this has not happened in a vacuum. It has been a design process. 2 weeks is going to do nothing but reintroduce a process that's going to ultimately end up with the same results. If there's a roof plan that would make this, you mentioned you were the professional. Do you mind if I ask what's your background?
Which part of my background?
Well, you mentioned you're the professional on the board.
Sorry, I'm a Harvard-trained architect. I went to Rhode Island School of Design. I've been practicing for 30 years.
Oh, excellent. Are you a residential architect as well?
I've done residential work.
Okay. Good.
I don't currently do residential work, to be honest, to be forthright.
No, I appreciate it.
Again, I look at that elevation that you have right there, and there's this roof coming up, and the logic of it I can't see the logic of it. Pulling it down would make the house a clearer idea. What you said is this two-story colonial. That's what we're talking about.
So you want to see this come here?
Yep.
And this elevation, regardless of what it does to the back, even though I've described how it's going to make
Back,
it more
I'm not
efficient.
looking at. This is the view that we're going to see.
This goes against my grain of what I would recommend, but if this is what the board needs me to do to keep this process moving along, it seems unfair and unjust, but I would take 2 weeks to do it. But you're asking me to do something that I've already explored and have decided with my client that this is the right solution.
Well, if I told you that the house looked too big, what would you say to that?
I would disagree with you.
Well, that's the opinion of the, I'm speaking as an architect of the
And I definitely
ARB.
appreciate your opinion.
And I think we've seen these houses grow. This was a Cape. We've taken off the second floor basically and rebuilding the whole thing from scratch to make it an alteration.
Yes.
It might as well be a new home. We would treat it the same way as if it was a new home. So we're not meaning to call into question some of the decisions you made. Frankly, I think we're down to one item on this. I won't even speak to the false dormer, which I still don't understand, but I take it that's what the client likes. False dormer over the garage and false dormer over the bay, the stone bay.
The return gables?
Yeah. The houses in that neighborhood are relatively simple. They have simple forms. There's been multiple. I'm not talking about that house.
This is the one house that is a simple form in there.
That one there, the cute little house with the yellow house. And they've been that way, and that's the nature of the houses that you see throughout the village. They're sort of simple constructions they follow through. These additions are I don't think they enhance the
We're
scale.
building houses for the 21st century. This house was built in the 19th century. It's a different home, it's a different lifestyle, it's a different scale.
Scale is
To ask
not
people to
scale.
live the way that they lived 40, 50, 70, 80 years ago is unrealistic. That's
I'm
what's
sorry,
happening.
but this person is building what is called a McMansion.
Oh,
All right, excuse me, but it's a McMansion, it's a doubling the size of the house that was there, that was 1,500 square feet, plus or minus, 1,800 square feet, call it. It's doubling it. That's because they would like a master bedroom, and they would like the laundry room, and they would like all those things. That's not modern living, that's just having a big house.
Well, that's what modern people want when they're buying homes. They
I-
want
I-
large kitchens, they want open concept.
And then they don't want to respect the scale of the neighborhood.
Well, I think that this house fits in quite
You
nicely
got
with
the
the scale of
planning
the
approval,
neighborhood.
I'm not arguing the planning approval.
No, I'm not
saying
making
it
it.
just looks like a
I'm saying
bulky.
visually, as an architect, we disagree on this. I think this house,
By the way, you pulled it down, why don't you line it up with the roof in the front, the false gable?
I don't know what you're talking about now.
So when you drew that line, you dropped it to match the other gable,
I'm sorry, which roof are we looking at?
the line you drew,
On the proposed street.
right?
Yep.
So why isn't it lining up with the false gable that's on the circle elevation, the front
You
elevation?
would need to be standing on a 50-foot ladder to be able to see this elevation, and to be able to see those roof lines.
This isn't, I'm sorry, but this is going to be a main elevation that we see when we come
But
up.
you're never going to see these ridge lines. You're never going to see
I'm
these
going to
ridge
see the
lines.
ridge.
They're never
I'm
going
going
to
to see
line up.
the ridge. That's what you read the scale.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I can't go further with this, I don't think there's any. All right.
I
Frankly,
appreciate your concern. I'm just trying to articulate the fact that this has gone through its process.
Yeah, but this is the first time we're seeing it.
Oh, I
This is-
completely understand. I completely understand. You've been shown for a few weeks, I know.
What? We got this on Friday, Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm looking to you sooner than that. Why did you make me drop them off so early?
Look, I mean, it's worth acknowledging, we understand you've been through quite a few boards already, but
Yeah.
this is our board, and this is the first time we're being presented with this design and scale and impact and visual sense of the neighborhood and characteristics of the neighborhood. Those are all things that are before us, and we are supposed to review, and it has nothing to do with what came before us.
I totally understand.
So
appreciate your
I
place.
know this is a frustrating process because some folks do come in here thinking I've gotten this far, really all I have to do is show the materials, but that is not the case. And especially with this house, when we have our architect on the board concerned about the scale and the ridge and the lines, I mean, we do have to appreciate what he's saying. And I, for one, would not be comfortable, I just want you to know that, voting on this in light of Ken's comments. It makes sense to me, and I would like to see those.
I agree, it's 2 weeks. I mean, you know,
well,
At 2 weeks, I'm going to redesign the house.
nobody's asking you to redesign the whole house, I think, just to consider what Ken is saying. So, you know, just sleep on it and
the problem we have right at the second is we don't have the ability to continue the matter. It's up to you. If you want us to go ahead and vote on it tonight, I don't think you're going to be in a good position. That having been said, you obviously have, recourse if in fact we do deny the application. However, I'm not sure, frankly, I would prefer that you ask for a continuation until, in 2 weeks, only because I am not comfortable with the size of the change and how it does not conform to the demolition statutes. I'm frankly a little surprised that this increase is so large, as large as it is, and it didn't send up red flags for the building department.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but do you mind just explaining to me what that process would be? What would the difference be if it was considered a demolition? Just from my own understanding, I'm just not.
There's a whole different set of rules. I mean,
Is
there's
there?
the village code is, goes through, quite detail as to what we have to see and what we, what are not, what we don't want to see in that. But like I said, it's a whole different can of worms, frankly.
And demolition is defined in the zoning code. We don't have that. I don't have that. I know the code provision, but I don't have the definition in front of me. And demolition may require notice to neighbors. I mean, there's a different process. And I know that this home is within the historic overlay district. I know what the definition of demolition is, but that's not the case. So I am not able to.
Would that impact how I would present to the board, to this board in particular? I'm just curious in case I come back in 2 weeks and there's an issue about it being considered demolition.
Well, you'll know ahead of time, because I'm gonna speak to the building
All right,
inspector in the
you'll
morning.
talk to Ed, and he'll call me
Yeah.
if it comes up.
So if we want to, you know, if you wanted to go that route, and ask for a continuation for 2 weeks, that's up to you. If we were to vote on it tonight, I'm not sure you'd be happy with
All right,
it.
well, I definitely appreciate it. I appreciate the comments from the board. If we get the continuation, it sounds like we're going down that path, is there a deadline? How do I revise the drawings and get it to you in a timely fashion that I can even present it to you at the continuation? Or can I simply show up to that meeting with revised elevations that we could slip into the set if that was something that the board was able to agree on? I'm just curious of the mechanics of the continuation in 2 weeks.
Frankly, the file will go back to Ed in the morning. The drawings, which is where you have to make those changes.
Yes.
You can either insert new drawings to him, or, you know, mark up the old drawings, and we can, you know, approve it as amended.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't mind doing new drawings. I want to make sure you have enough time to review it, obviously.
We're not going to see it again.
Until our next meeting? Okay, good.
Until 3 or 4 days before the next meeting.
Okay.
So, you know, that you have at least a good 10 days.
Okay,
I would
so,
say.
so I would request that continuation, and if I can just get some clarification one last time. We're concerned with the way this roof interacts, so one of the things we're trying to achieve is see if we can pull this down. And it sounds to me like you're looking for me to have another conversation with my client on the siding choice. Is that something that the board is universally, you know, feels that strongly about?
I think the bulk of the board feels that way.
Okay. And the board would be happier with a clapper-type product on a home like this?
In a home in Irvington, yes.
Okay.
Take these with you.
I will. I'm going to grab my pictures as well.
When we do vote on the application, we will put those into the application. We don't need them. Consider the matter continued.
Thank you.
Thank you. But I'm not out of your head yet.
Yeah, no, you have, Okay, the final new matter is ARB 16-9520 Maple Street, exterior elevation change. I'm not even gonna pronounce that last one, although I think it's Guadano.
You're close. This is existing house in the village. We have an existing, there's a breezeway that connects the house. There's a roof breezeway that connects the house and the garage. I find we'd like to fill in the breezeway, create mudroom, and then also expanding the back of the house slightly over the existing deck. So everything we're looking at here in the front of the elevation exists, with the exception of this door and window. It's basically
The roof is actually there as well.
correct. Correct. So it's really just an infill.
Can you show us the plans?
So you can see the first floor. Stairs down from the kitchen. There's a mudroom that will connect the garage back into the main house. The second floor bathroom and bedroom is going to be expanded slightly over an existing footprint on the back of the house.
I'm gonna make one request, and this is fine, you know, I see what's going on, it's good, we can go to the elevation. Is there any reason you didn't consider making that all glass, or at least the perception of all glass between the, for the breezeway? I know you have a closet that's inside, I looked at that. Is there any chance you could expand that window, the window next to the door, or like the door going glass? There's something nice about having that breezeway, which we understand that you could connect to the garage and make some space out of it.
Are you asking me if I think there should be more glass?
I'm asking you.
I think that this is a form follow functions thing in the money. And I think that is properly scaled in that belongs to the village house is probably the most appropriate.
No, I'm not saying, believe me, I'm not trying to make it go full height or anything like that, but just to make it so that it has the idea that it was a breezeway and now it's glazed in, that's all. The back's fine. currently 9 over?
No, that was one of my issues. Every window in the house is 6/1, whereas those other 4 windows are, the new 4 windows are 8/1. The new windows. If you look at the rear elevation.
Oh, that's just the nature of when you go to a wider window. These are bedroom windows that meet the egress requirements. And if I was to do a 6/1 and a 3'2" window, the panels tend to be a bit out of scale with the rest of the glass. These windows that were currently in the house don't meet egress requirements, so they're only like 2'4" windows. Now, that could be changed, but again, in my opinion, the size of the divided light is closer to matching what's existing, whereas if it was only 6/1.
I see that, I can understand that.
The site plan, if you're interested in that as well. CBS house. Are you doing anything for your deck? No.
That's not that old, I think it was put in 5-6 years ago, right before my client purchased the home.
My only comment was the windows.
And I'd be open to changing it, I just explained, kind of the reasoning behind it.
A lot of times it's just a plastic mullion anyway.
Right.
Which is why it's usually no big deal, but.
I think the way that Anderson does it is once you get to different sizes, they break the lights on.
I even appreciate that you kept that header above the door and the window, keeping that sort of representation of where that roof line was. I would just ask that window get larger, but I'm not going to argue over.
Okay, other questions?
No.
Okay, I'm okay, do I have a motion to approve the application?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All in favor? You opposed?
Yes.
Give you these drawings.
Actually, we didn't get any new paperwork on it, so I didn't expect to hear it, so we're good.
Thank you.
You want to keep the photos for the record?
Oh, no, did you have these?
No,
The neighbors too?
Here, I'll put them in the folder.
What was,
Say again? The 130 Main Street. I'll call that, I know there's nobody here, ARB 1685, 130 Main Street, Fitzgerald Edition. Okay? That's it. Thank you very much, everybody.